My girlfriend mocked. Your tiny internship will never lead to a real job or good money. I casually pushed the contract across the table. It was a $180K offer from their biggest rival. She started screaming, but I was already packing my bags. Leo, was 25 years old at the time. I had just finished a grueling 18-month internship. I was searching for my first full-time role as an analyst. My girlfriend, Chelsea, was 26. She was a marketing manager at a major Atlanta firm. We had been dating for 4 years, since meeting in a shared college class. Our life revolved around her large income and expensive tastes. Chelsea earned $130,000 a year. My internship only paid a small $30K stipend. We shared a small, high-end apartment in Midtown, Atlanta. The rent was significant, and she paid the majority of it. She used this financial imbalance constantly as leverage over me. We ate out often, but always at her choice of expensive restaurants. She made sure everyone knew she was picking up the check. Our social circle consisted mostly of her successful, older colleagues. They often treated me like a college kid who was still trying to find his way. I was interviewing for a highly specific finance role. It was a junior quant analyst position. The job was located 800 miles away in Dallas, Texas. It was an extremely competitive opening at a top financial group. This was the career launch I had been working toward for years. I needed this job to start building my own substantial income. When the offer finally came, I was ecstatic. It included a $180,000 base salary. There was also a massive $50,000 signing bonus included. This was exponentially more money than I had ever earned before. It was an absolutely life-changing opportunity for me. I rushed home that evening, contract in hand, to tell Chelsea. She was sitting on the couch, drinking expensive wine. She barely paused her TV show to look at me. I said, "Chelsea, I have amazing news. I got the Dallas job offer." She rolled her eyes and took a sip of her wine. She asked, "That data entry thing from your tiny internship, what are they paying you, $50,000? I said, "No, it is a quant analyst role. The base salary is $180,000. It includes a $50,000 signing bonus." She scoffed loudly, not even looking at the paper. She said, "That is a ridiculous lie, Leo. Those places do not hire people like you. You have no real experience, only that internship. You are dreaming too big again. You will never make good money like me. That is all an empty promise." Her immediate and total rejection of my success wounded me deeply. The conflict erupted as I tried to show her the official letter. She simply stood up and walked into the kitchen. She refused to look at the paperwork. Her mockery was not just about the salary, but about my ability to succeed at all. Success Update 1A. I formally accepted the quant analyst position the next morning. I sent the signed documents back to the Dallas firm immediately. I decided to keep the details of the salary and bonus a complete secret. Chelsea's mocking attitude had convinced me that I needed to protect my path. Her disapproval was now irrelevant to my future plans. She refused to discuss the subject again, shutting me down repeatedly. I said, "I need to decide where to ship my books soon." She answered dismissively. She said, "I told you, this is a stupid fantasy. Stop talking about this ridiculous Texas job. You should be focusing on finding work here. You can't handle being away from Atlanta." She continued her stream of dismissive lines every time I mentioned the move. She said, "You are not strategic enough for that type of work. You are too emotionally weak for real finance. It will be a disaster, I promise you that." Our mutual friends, mostly her old college group, reinforced her low opinion of me. At a recent gathering, her friend David cornered me. David asked, still playing around with that internship stuff, "Leo, when are you going to get a real grown-up job? Chelsea carries all your weight, man." I just smiled and told him I was exploring new opportunities. I did not correct their low expectations. Their mockery only strengthened my quiet determination. I felt completely detached from their judgment now. I began the logistical planning in absolute secrecy. I opened a new personal bank account in Dallas. I transferred all my savings, which were significant, into the new account. I started researching apartments near the downtown office location. I found a luxury high-rise apartment with a great view and reasonable rent. It was easily affordable on my new salary. I started quietly boxing up my belongings. I labeled the boxes with vague terms like old college notes and stored them temporarily in my parents' garage outside the city. My focus was razor-sharp and methodical. I was preparing to disappear quietly and decisively. Dawson's Update 2. 3 weeks before my scheduled start date in Dallas, I told Chelsea the truth. I knew I could not stall the conversation any longer. The apartment lease had been signed, and the moving company was booked. I chose a Sunday evening for the final confrontation. We were having dinner at home, a rare and deliberate quiet choice. After we finished eating, I put the official contract on the table. It was laid open to the compensation page, highlighting the numbers. I said I have accepted the job in Dallas. I start 3 weeks from today. I have signed a lease on an apartment there. The move is happening, Chelsea. She stared at the document, her eyes wide with shock. Her face changed from disbelief to pure, blazing fury as she saw the $180,000 base salary. She yelled $180,000. You lied to me all this time, Leo. You let me mock you and call you poor. You manipulated me and planned this betrayal. I shook my head slowly, calmly refuting her accusation. I said, I never lied about anything. I told you the truth the first night. You refused to believe me then. You chose to mock me instead. I simply proceeded with my life. The confrontation quickly turned into an ugly shouting match. She started throwing small, inexpensive objects across the room. She screamed. This is a disgusting insult to me. I put my life on hold for your internship. I paid all the bills for 4 years. And this is how you repay me. She then gave me the ultimate ultimatum, just as I expected. She declared, you will call them tomorrow and turn it down. You will find a safe job here in Atlanta. If you get on that plane, we are finished. You choose that greedy job or you choose me. I looked at her, realizing she was only interested in control. She wanted to be the financial superior, not my equal partner. I said, I choose the job. I choose my career potential. I choose myself, respect, and my future. I will not tolerate your constant put-downs. She collapsed onto the chair, sobbing dramatically. The tears were for the lost status and the money she had scorned. I stood firm and silent. The conversation was finally over. I felt a surge of cold, clean resolve. Ours Update 3. The fallout over the next 2 weeks was a whirlwind of emotional chaos. Chelsea was a textbook case of cyclical manipulation. She started with uncontrolled rage, cursing my ambition and new job. She yelled, you are a shallow, horrible man. That company will ruin your life. You are going to hate living in Texas alone. Then came the frantic bargaining, trying to appeal to my guilt. She pleaded, we can get married before you go. Then I can follow you later, I promise. We can try to make a long-distance relationship work. Don't throw away 4 years of history. I maintained a calm, logical, and detached demeanor throughout. I did not yell back or engage in any of her emotional games. I focused only on the necessary moving logistics. I kept our conversations limited to the division of apartment goods. I said, the movers arrive on Friday morning. I am taking only my personal effects. You can keep the expensive couch and the TV. She would sink into depression, barely leaving the bedroom. Then the anger would boil up again, focusing on my perceived lack of loyalty. She hissed, I supported you when you had nothing, Leo. You are a terrible person for doing this to me. You are just a selfish, greedy opportunist. I simply let her insults hang in the air, without any reply. Her words had lost all power over me. I was mentally checked out and focused on the future. Moving day arrived, a cool Friday morning. Chelsea was not home. She had claimed she had an emergency meeting at work. I suspected she just wanted to avoid the final painful scene. I had the movers clear out my few remaining boxes quickly. Before leaving, I placed a sealed note on the kitchen counter. It contained the final closing statement for the apartment and a check for her last month's rent. I felt an incredible, immediate relief as I drove out of the city. There was no looking back, only the excitement of the new beginning. My first week in Dallas was intoxicating. My new apartment was spacious and had spectacular views. The job was intensely challenging, exactly what I craved. The work required razor-sharp focus on complex financial models. I felt valued, respected, and completely in control of my life for the first time. Update 4. 6 months into my new life, I was flourishing completely. My work was demanding but deeply satisfying. I was learning more in a week than I had learned in a year in Atlanta. I implemented a new risk assessment protocol that saved my team several thousand hours. My management recognized my contribution immediately. The financial wins were constant and validating. I used the $50,000 signing bonus to immediately pay off my remaining student loans. I bought a reliable, new SUV outright with cash. This freedom from debt and car payments felt better than any high-end restaurant meal. I started running regularly through the local city park trails. I joined a few social leagues for local music, festivals, and art gatherings. My new life was based on genuine interests, not superficial displays of wealth. The confused messages from Chelsea's old circle started arriving. Her younger sister, Maria, was the first to reach out. Maria texted, "Hey Leo, just checking in. Chelsea said you were back with your parents. She said you quit the job because it was too stressful. Is everything all right with you?" I sent a short, corrective reply to set the record straight. I texted, "I am doing great, Maria. I love the job in Dallas. I just got a significant performance review. I bought a new car last month." I also received a polite message from Chelsea's mother. I kept that exchange brief and respectful, confirming only my success and location. I ignored most of the old friends entirely. They were too quick to believe the worst about me before. Her lies were clearly aimed at maintaining her superior status. She was spreading a story that I had failed. She was painting me as the emotionally unstable one. This fabrication meant she could still feel successful in her own Atlanta bubble. The fact that she claimed I failed and only earned $60K was particularly insulting. It showed how determined she was to lowball my potential. Her deceit fueled my satisfaction in my quiet, spectacular success. I knew a public revelation was imminent. RS Update 5. After my first major quarterly review, I decided it was time to reveal the full truth. I wanted to end Chelsea's manipulative narrative for good. I posted a professional but confident update on my LinkedIn profile. The post announced my new full-time title, Quant Analyst. I specifically tagged the name of the firm's Rival Financial Group. I kept the post professional, discussing my excitement for the complex problem solving. While I did not explicitly mention the salary, the firm's elite reputation spoke for itself. Anyone in finance knew the starting pay was significant. I set my profile visibility to public, ensuring it reached our entire mutual network. The texts and emails from Chelsea started almost immediately. She had clearly seen the post and realized the scale of my success. The prestige of the firm shattered her narrative. She likely searched the typical starting salary for my title. The reality of the $180,000 and the $50,000 bonus finally hit her. Her messages were desperate and full of false affection. She texted, "Leo, my love, you are brilliant. I always knew you would be this successful. I was just scared of losing you to Texas. Please, let us talk about getting back together. I cannot live without you anymore." The apologies from my former colleagues and friends were next. They apologized profusely for believing her story that I had failed. They admitted they were told I had taken a minor job just to escape Atlanta. My friend, Alex, texted me directly. Alex wrote, "Dude, I am so sorry. Chelsea said you took a huge step backward. I had no idea you were at Rival Financial. That is a life-changing role, Leo. I truly wish you the very best." My parents called me, overflowing with pride and validation. My mother said, "We knew she was wrong about you. She never truly respected your abilities. You had the courage to pursue your dreams. We are so incredibly proud of your hard work." Their validation was the sweetest reward. I felt a quiet sense of triumph. Her attempt to control my future and shame my ambition had backfired spectacularly. She was now the one begging for my attention. I had won the quiet war. A SES update 6-7 months after my move, Chelsea showed up in Dallas. I was in a coffee shop downtown near my office on a Tuesday afternoon. She walked straight up to my table. She claimed she was in town for a marketing conference. I knew immediately that was a lie. She was dressed in expensive, new clothes, clearly trying to impress me. She smiled and tried to hug me, but I kept my distance. I said, "Chelsea, I told you to use the lawyers. We are not going to talk about anything here." She ignored my cold tone and begged me to listen. She pleaded, "I just wanted to see you one last time. I realize how wrong I was about everything. I want to move down here. I can be supportive, I promise you that." I fixed her with a hard, unwavering gaze. It was time to call out her hypocrisy directly. I said, "You mocked my internship for 4 years. You told me I would never make real money. You called me a small-minded, greedy opportunist. You told your friends I was financially unstable." She insisted her character had fundamentally changed. She cried again, claiming she had learned her lesson. She said, "I have changed, Leo. I see what truly matters now. I was focused on the wrong things before. I deserve a second chance, please. I offered her the cold, hard truth that I had realized months ago. I spoke with calm finality. I said, "You are wrong, Chelsea. You have not changed at all. Your circumstances changed when you saw my contract. Your feelings only changed because the numbers changed. You regret losing the $180,000 salary, not me. I want you to leave this cafe right now. Do not contact me again, or I will involve the police." Her face went from desperate pleading to sheer, icy venom. She looked at me with pure hatred for a moment. Then she quickly gathered her expensive purse and walked away. The conversation ended with a quiet strength on my part. I immediately called my lawyer to document the attempted contact. Affairs Update 7. Following the failed in-person confrontation, Chelsea escalated legally. She was clearly frustrated and running out of options. My lawyer received a series of demanding letters from her new, aggressive legal team. She tried to claim ownership of certain shared furniture. She attempted to make me pay a massive fine for breaking the apartment lease. She even tried to claim common law marriage benefits. My lawyer shut down every single claim with clinical precision. We had a paper trail for the furniture purchase. I had already paid the full lease termination fee months ago. Texas does not recognize common law marriage as easily as she hoped. Her claims were quickly dismissed and deemed meritless. My lawyer stated, "Her claims are a waste of time, Leo. She has no legal ground to stand on. This is purely emotional harassment." We will proceed with the final divorce filing. With the legal avenues closed, Chelsea launched a toxic social media campaign. She started vague, posting on her Instagram stories. She used cryptic messages about narcissists and toxic people. She implied that I was emotionally unstable and had ruined her life. She used old, flattering pictures of us, adding sad face emojis to imply victimhood. The campaign backfired completely. My new colleagues and friends in Dallas saw the posts and recognized the drama. My old network also saw the posts and knew she was lying. Her own mother, Carol, was the one who delivered the final public blow. Carol commented publicly on one of Chelsea's posts. Carol wrote to Chelsea, "Please stop this hurtful nonsense. You need to take responsibility for your actions. Stop attacking Leo and move on with your life." The comment was quickly deleted, but the damage was done. The public backlash forced Chelsea to delete her stories and withdraw completely. Her final attempt at emotional manipulation failed. It only served to cement her reputation as bitter and unstable. I watched it all unfold with a detached sense of finality. Update 8. 1 year later, my life was a picture of quiet, complete success. I was 26 years old and thriving at rival financial group. I had been promoted to senior quant analyst. My base salary was now $220,000. I had purchased a beautiful condo in a rapidly appreciating neighborhood. I was building serious equity and security. My life felt entirely stable and joyful. I was in a loving and stable relationship with a new partner, Olivia. She was a kind and brilliant architect. She was incredibly supportive of my work ethic. Our relationship was built on mutual respect and shared interests. She was my teammate, not my critic. I received a final text message from Chelsea late one evening. It was simple, sober, and free of dramatics. She texted, "I heard about your promotion. Congratulations. I realize now I was very cruel to you. I was obsessed with status and your money. I sincerely regret how I treated you, Leo. I lost the best person I ever knew because of my ego." The message contained a small flicker of genuine acknowledgement. It was not a grand, tearful apology, but it was honest. I felt no resentment, only a quiet sense of closure. She finally admitted the truth of her motives. I sent a polite, brief reply. I kept it short. I texted, "Thank you, Chelsea. I wish you a peaceful life." That was the last communication between us. The story was truly and finally over. I moved on, completely unburdened by the past. Final update. 2 years after I moved to Dallas, I attended my company's annual charity gala. The main sponsor was an older, established finance executive named Robert. To my surprise, he was Chelsea's father. We were formally introduced during the cocktail hour. He looked startled but composed. Robert took me aside and spoke quietly. Robert said, "Leo, I am so glad I ran into you. I owe you a massive, personal apology. I was very wrong to judge you back then. I listened to all of Chelsea's lies, and I believed them. I see now you are an exceptional young man." He spoke about his own failings as a parent. He admitted, "My wife and I taught her the wrong values. We focus too much on money and status. We are deeply sorry for the way she treated you. You deserved a partner who respected you. I accepted his apology graciously and genuinely. It was the final, external confirmation of my rational decision. I had done the right thing for myself, despite the external chaos. I reflected later that evening on the whole journey. Chelsea's mocking insult about my tiny internship was the greatest gift I received. It proved that the people closest to you can become your biggest obstacle. Never let the person who is supposed to love you mock your ambitions. Your work, however small, is your launchpad to success. My life lesson for all of you is this: protect your potential fiercely. If someone tries to shame you for having a 30K stipend while you are building a 180K career, they are not your teammate. They are an obstacle to be overcome. Get your documents, plan your escape, and work in silence. I am now 27, secure in my wealth, and happily building a future with Olivia. My revenge was not destroying Chelsea, but building a life so magnificent that her opinion became entirely irrelevant. I am happy, fulfilled, and finally free.